Welcome back to the Capital Compounder Show, everyone. Today we have a very special guest. His name is Eddie Ryan. He's the co-founder and CEO of Neat.com. Eddie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Robin. Nice to meet you.
So what was your career path leading up to the founding of Neat.com, Eddie?
I graduated as a mechanical engineer from the University of Limerick. I joined a local US multinational, and I wasn't long in that company when I was asked to become a salesperson for the company. So we were selling engineering equipment into the pharmaceutical sector, and I headed up a function within that global sales team. And I was selling into pharmaceutical manufacturers, and I saw that industry and I loved what I saw and I wanted to be a part of it. So I joined the pharmaceutical manufacturing space, and I spent probably maybe 12 years there before myself and my partner identified the need for a digital validation solution in the marketplace. And it's based on our experience of using validation within life sciences and pharmaceutical manufacturing day in, day out. We saw the need for a solution that could harmonize this process globally, take away all the paper, build better compliance and efficiency within the industry. We were trying to harmonize within Pfizer at the time when we worked there, and no matter what we did, it was difficult with the tools available to harmonize your validation processes. And there was a lot of repeat the process over and over again, and it was never right first time, it was never efficient and effective. So we developed a product from the ground up, and we started coding that product in earnest in 2007, and we brought it to market around 2014, early versions, and then it's a complex problem, and our first customer signed up with us, and subsequent to that we signed up 8 of the top 10 biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world, and we're here today in 2025 as the leader in the validation space within life sciences.
And how has the competitive landscape evolved? I assume that your competitors when we started out, if they're still paper-based, they're gone today. But tell us more about that.
Yeah, so Robin, a lot of the competition is still the current way of doing things through the paper-based processes, right? The pharmaceutical industry is still a lot of paper-driven processes there, but I would say that there was a competitor in the marketplace when we arrived, and but my summation of that competitor was they weren't delivering enough value to the business process and business value, and Neat came along with a solution that was built from the ground up, dedicated for the pharmaceutical and life sciences environment, and for that reason it's hit the business value very early on, and these big customers realized that, and they trialed it and it worked, and once one of these big companies adopts you become known, and they're very much a follow me industry. They want to use the best practices available, and once they find one that works, they tend to share that information. So they can be some of your best sales force, your own existing customers. They don't compete on tools that helps them to be compliant or to digitize processes. So they do share that information quite broadly.
And who's the first major customer that you signed on the Neat platform?
Yeah, so our first major customer is Biogen, and I can talk about that customer because they've authored a case study, and if you go to our website you'll see some case studies of many customers actually, and how they use Neat and how they get value from Neat and their journey they've been on. And Biogen was the first customer, and in the early days it was difficult to, we did pilot after pilot with Biogen, and we were an early stage product, it wasn't a mature product at the time, and I'd get letters from the financial department, what's my financial balance sheet like, and it was difficult for them to buy from a small company based in Ireland at the time, right, out of Limerick, and but what eventually happened, we did pilot after pilot, and they never really kicked us out, or they couldn't buy from us because they said you don't have a big team to support us and all of that. But the users finally said to the seniors, they said, look, this product is the only product in the marketplace that addresses these problems, and it does it very well, and we love it. And so for that reason, the seniors decided to place an order with Neat, and they authored a case study, and they supported us as a reference site in the marketplace to help us gain momentum. And they were the first customer, and that customer was very instrumental in our launch and our initial penetration into the industry, because they shared their information, with all the other users, and they were always at the end of a call to tell our new prospects what a great company we were to deal with, but also what a great product we had, and how we were the best product in the marketplace that they had seen that addresses the complex validation processes.
That's just excellent. So major vote of confidence, a pivotal moment for NEAT, right, to sign on Biogen. As you said, it was a qualification you could shop around to the other big life sciences companies. Can you walk us through that case study? How is Biogen using the platform today, and just so viewers understand all the value that the platform brings?
Yeah, so let's step back a small bit there, if you don't mind, Robin.
Yeah.
Validation is a quality process. It's part of the quality umbrella within these life sciences companies. So the VP of quality ultimately owns validation within their organization, and so if whoever's signing for the check at the end of the day, it usually ends up at the desk of the VP of quality, to sign off on this process. So within validation, there's multiple use cases. We call them, let's say, business process or use case or work streams. Cleaning validation is one, equipment validation is another, computer system validation is another. So there's multiple validation processes. And so customers take us for any subset of those. One customer might start out and take us for one process, such as, say, equipment validation. And then once that's working and they begin to roll that out across their organization, they begin to say, well, okay, what other processes can we now put on NEAT? And then they'll take another process like cleaning or computer system validation. And as they add these new processes, they're adding new cohorts of users, because each process has its own users within their cohort, and then they're expanding across the organization. So there's two verticals of expansion. We have a very strong land and expand model, and getting into these big organizations, and you can spend 3, 4, 5 years expanding to additional processes and additional sites. And if you look at our numbers, at the end of 2024, you'll see that we had a net revenue retention of 151%. That really reinforces the land and expand model. Just an example, also another case study. I'm jumping a little bit here, Robin, to another case study, which would be Merck. Merck is one of our most advanced customers, and Merck has rolled NEAT out across 27 sites to more than 12,000 users globally, to probably 7 different use cases or processes or workflows that we talk about. So that's huge validation of our product. And they also, that case study that they authored, also on our website, you'll see the story and how they pushed through. They started with one use case, one process, and within 2.5, 3 years they had scaled across the organization to 27 sites. They were one of the fastest. Some of the other larger pharmaceutical companies will take a bit longer. So if you ask me, how long does it take to scale a big pharma company for all their validation processes, I would say anywhere between 3 and 6 years. Some go a bit faster, a bit slower. They'll do some processes, then they'll come back a year later and do other processes. So we benefit from that because we're expanding all the time. The one thing to say that is these big companies have signed master service agreements with us. So the intention is to roll NEAT out across the organization. And usually, just to double down that as well, Robin, is we will actually announce these strategic companies that we sign. And when we're announcing them, we're really saying to the marketplace is that we expect a large expansion over time from these companies.
I have to ask the question, what would you say is the total addressable market for these validation services in the health sciences industry?
Yeah. So when you look at all those use cases that I spoke about there, the multiple different processes that we can set up on the NEAT platform, and we look across the life sciences segment, which I really typically include medical device manufacturers, pharmaceutical, biotech manufacturers, all the supply chain to these companies, such as equipment manufacturers, service providers, engineering companies, and also logistics companies. One of the biggest logistics companies in the world is a customer of NEAT's. And on logistics on the discharge side, where you're taking the product to the point of sale. We look at all that, we see a $2 billion TAM within that first phase of our incarnation, our life cycle.
How much would you say as a percentage NEAT has captured so far out of that $2 billion?
Oh, that's a very good question. So I would say there's a huge amount of white space still in our existing customers, and there's a huge amount of customers that we haven't signed yet. So when you look at that, I would say it's very small in general. I don't have a number on that, Robin, but it's small.
So there's still a long runway here. What about adjacent opportunities that you might be exploring in the future for the
Yeah,
platform?
it's a very good point. So we
Yeah.
see ourselves as being a plat. So our platform is a zero code platform,
Hmm.
and on this platform you can create your process, your workflow, your way. And whether that's a data intensive, document intensive workflow process, it doesn't matter to us. We don't mind what data you're talking about. We will manage that data centrally in a compliant way, and we allow you to create documents and forms, or capture it via documents and forms, or present it to others via documents and forms. So we're managing the data through the life cycle of the data, really, and that could be 30, 40 years with these companies. So, we see huge opportunity adjacent to the validation space as we go forward. Where is that? We don't actually, tell that to the market at the moment, Robin, but you
Hmm.
could think of deeper into manufacturing. It's really going to be around manufacturing, engineering, and validation spaces. That's really where our core capabilities lie at this point.
Geographically, I would imagine life sciences clients are mostly in Europe, UK, US. What's your strategy, for example, for penetrating Asia?
Yeah, so I would say from an Asian perspective, it's early for us.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say is that most of the pharmaceutical companies that we work with, the strategic ones, they have sites and manufacturing facilities all over the world.
Hmm.
So if you go to, Merck, a site in China, whatever, you'll probably see them using Neat there.
Yeah.
So we have a great inroad into these new geographical spaces. But I'd say our focus is primarily, if you look at Asia, would be more like the Japanese and the South Korean type environment, Singapore. If you're looking to see Neat signing in local companies, non-US and non-EU companies, but we're being used, across a lot of sites, manufacturing facilities within these jurisdictions.
I believe Neat is domiciled in Ireland, but you're listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. How did that come to be, being listed in Canada?
Yeah, that's a good one. I get asked that
Yeah.
question a lot, and I say our operational headquarters in Limerick in Ireland. We've got a lot of people in the US, a lot of sales and marketing and services people in the US as well, and scattered around Europe. But we're on the Toronto Stock Exchange, like you said. But the story goes back to 2015, 2016, when we were doing private rounds, and we met these individuals, Canadian individuals, through a friend, and that person, these people, invested in a private round at the time, and then followed on with later saying, when we were looking for further money to grow the company, we felt it was important for the company to have a bigger fundraising capability into the future. So we these Canadians was Wade Daw. He controlled a shell company on the Toronto Ventures Exchange, and we reversed into that, and we acquired the cash assets that remained in that company. And so we're on the Toronto Ventures Exchange for a few years, and we performed very well. We had a lot of announcements we felt we could manage, so we felt it wasn't a bad decision to take from a founder's perspective. And then as we got more mature, we graduated to the major market, Toronto Stock Exchange proper.
Which is great. Walk us through some of the growth challenges. From early days, launching a business basically with your partner. I think his name is Kevin. What were the challenges early on?
Yeah, there's two partners, Kevin and Brian, still is in the
Yep.
company. So just to say that I think I alluded to one of the big challenges earlier on there, Robin, when the company had no balance sheet and it was trying to get into large blue chip companies,
Yeah.
as a US, in this case a US headquartered company, Biogen. So that was the biggest challenge. But as you get your product into the marketplace, it's a complex problem. We've built a platform. What that means is there's a zero code platform. It means you can configure different processes on the platform. So some companies might say one platform for one of your validation processes, such as computer system validation or cleaning validation. Whereas Neat's message to the market is one zero code platform for all your validation processes. Doesn't matter. First customer that came to me, a large customer, in a large big pharma company, said to me, Eddie, are you just going to give us the Pfizer way to do this, to do validation? Because everybody's different. They interpret the regulations a bit differently and they set up their processes a bit differently. And I said, no, not at all. I said, please give me your process in the paper way and we will digitize it for you and we'll have it back to you in 2 weeks, your way. And that's a big value proposition. So you don't have to fit into our tool.
Mm-hmm.
You can set up your process no matter what way it is, and we can also facilitate variations in your process for where different cultures might have just different ways within your organization to do things. So I think it's a large platform. There's a lot of R&D gone into it, Robin, and we will continue to put R&D into this as we go into new opportunities in that. And I would say it's an end-to-end solution for these validation processes. You start at the start and end at the end. So I would say from that perspective, there isn't a need to be plugging in too many other solutions to achieve the business processes we're attacking at this point in time.
Yeah.
So developing a complex product, you get out a minimum viable product, and you get when you get in the rough with the customers, the early customers, and especially when you go up to bigger customers, you realize you need more and you need more and you need more. It's like let's say the solution grows.
It's a feedback loop, exactly.
Yeah.
That feeds into innovation. Have clients been asking you to integrate AI capabilities into the platform, and what AI are you integrating at the time,
Yeah.
at the moment?
Absolutely. AI always comes up as a question, and sometimes it comes up without due consideration for what you're trying to achieve and stuff like that. It has to be asked anyway. So we would have an AI strategy, and initially AI is there to, we would say, customers of ours are trying to say, well, do we want AI in the platform or do we want AI outside the platform as a kind of a global thing? Because the bigger the data lake you have, the bigger the data you have, the better your AI is, right? So what they want to do is, a lot of the customers want to take an integration point with the Neat platform and bring the data into their data lakes, where they apply their own AI on top of that, and they look at what they want to see through the data there. And Neat's primary goal is to make sure we have a great data platform. Like I said, data lifecycle management from cradle to grave, and that could be 30 years. And the real key is to be able to guarantee the customer that the data they're seeing is trustworthy. So data integrity is a big part of these regulated processes, and you have to have data integrity, and it's a big thing from our perspective. So we have AI in there as a capability to be able to, look at the data within the platform. But there's, things to be considered regarding access to data and stuff like that, and so it's a complex thing. But we would be giving customers early stages of AI at this point in time, but also the ability to go to their own AI models.
Yeah, I'm curious how big Neat has grown. How many employees did you have in year one, and how many employees do you have now?
Oh, when we signed Biogen back in 2000, got early stage with 14 and 15 with Biogen, we were probably a 35 man company, right? Today we're 10 times that. So, well, a little bit less than that. We're probably 310 today. And we went through, not last year, small growth last year, but the year before that we went through a significant growth where we doubled the number of staff. We spent a year, we're probably still growing into that team, I would say. And going forward this year, we see not a lot of hiring, but some strategic hiring in sales and marketing areas in particular.
What was the growth driver there for doubling staff a couple of years ago?
Yeah, so we went from winning. We were winning a lot of customers. There was an awful lot of, I would say, inbound lead happening, inbound inquiries coming through to us. We saw the need to, at that time we had a very small sales team. We saw the need to build a sales team for the future and to take advantage of the pipeline that was in front of us. And that's really what we've been doing, monitoring our pipelines very strongly, being ahead as much as we can to make sure the team that we put in place are available to harvest that pipeline into the future. So it's a balancing act. And I would say that, it was the response to the marketplace, the success we were having. Our big customers were asking us to, like Merck as an example. Merck started out with just, our land and expand model means that the customer might start out giving us, a couple of $100,000 a year in ARR, maybe even half of that. And then once they get success and they believe in the product, they start scaling over the next, maybe the following year, they'll start doing some scaling, and then the year after that. So that's what happens. So we saw these big customers being successful, and we saw them scaling, and we knew that we needed more professional services, but also account management from a sales and a customer success perspective, and a lot of R&D as well to build out our scalability in our product.
Absolutely. With that explosive growth, Eddie, how has your leadership evolved? Since small company days to now,
Yeah.
300 plus employees.
Yeah, there was a day when the founders did everything.
Exactly. I'm curious.
Yeah, but today, well, luckily enough, we've got a great team around us, and
Yeah.
we spent a lot of time making sure we have the right people in the right places, not just for now, but for the future of the company, without getting too much ahead of ourselves. Try to have a balance on that. So I would say that yeah, we've grown the structure. We're conscious of a strong, I would say, operational model. Our company has to have the right functions, has to be headed by the right functions, that they be staffed adequately, not overstaffed, not understaffed. Try to get it right size. Not We don't always get it perfectly right, but I would say yes, we've built a strong management team over the last number of years, and we do see ourselves adding to that as we go forward as well.
You know, having this crucial system that's in so many large life sciences companies, um, are you influencing the regulatory bodies now? The validation oversight. Like, is there a feedback loop there as well that you give input to them?
Yeah. So I would say that the regulators, such as the FDA, they don't endorse products.
Yeah.
They don't. They say these are the regulations. We don't mind how you interpret or how you comply with them, but you must comply with them. You can
Yeah.
do it on paper, like printed documents, if you want to. We don't. We don't see that as a good way of doing things. That's their view right now. But you can, and
Yeah.
but if you're doing it in an IT system, you need to be cognizant of data integrity. You can't just have an IT system for the sake of it. That's why I would say one of the real USPs of Neat is the data integrity and the compliance capabilities are built into the DNA of the platform. That's what, because it was built from the ground up. It wasn't taken from another industry like some solutions in the marketplace. Built from the ground up with all this by people who really understood the regulations and the needs of the industry.
That's just great. In terms of competition today, why do companies continue to use the Neat platform, and what are the barriers to entry in this industry?
The barriers to entry are very significant.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, Robin, you're selling quality here.
Yeah.
Right first time quality to these organizations, and they're big, and it bothers them not to be right first time and compliant and do things good. And IT systems are the best way for them to do that at scale. So that's the first and foremost thing, that are you built around strong quality? Are you scalable? Are you a platform that can be scaled from 50 users to 500 users? That type of thing globally, concurrently, like the case of Merck, who's gone to 12,000 users, and that's a huge thing for a platform of an SaaS platform. I've been with customers who have moved to products, from other adjacent areas, and it's promised the sun, moon, and stars, and it's great at 10, 20 users, and you get up to 100 users, starts falling over, and they said we made a mistake. I've seen situations like that. So we've been ahead of that.
Scalability is so important. Yeah.
Scalability is so important. We've been ahead of that all the time. Always making sure we're putting effort into scalability, security, all of that stuff. Data security. Can they trust you? When they come to buy us, they will do audits with us, and these audits could last 3 days. They'll be on our premises, they'll be going through all our information, how we manage data, how we develop software, how we design and test the software, how we release it and manage it in the marketplace after we've released it, the security around all of that, the data integrity, but also their data, how their data is protected within that. So there's quite onerous audits. So, it's a huge barrier. If you don't do things well, if you don't do, highly quality development and software release, they won't be able to buy from you easily, So that's something that you must be really good on. So,
You've been named, the company Neat.com's been named Fast 50 company, I believe, over multiple years. Can you tell the viewers about your historical growth, revenue growth?
yeah, so we're growing very rapidly, and order of magnitude on average 50% a year. Running back, our ARR is around the 50% mark every year. And I think that's really what is leading to these awards and that. And then the ability to scale outside of, these awards are based on Deloitte Fast 50 within Ireland. And when an Irish company scaling globally is another thing. Scaling up revenues to a primarily outside audience is another metric that they measure. So there's a number of things happening there, but it's really down to a great team of people executing to our plans, having clarity on the strategy, and great customer success as well, making sure our customers are getting the value out of our products.
Since founding the company, Eddie, what's been your proudest moment looking back?
Well, I suppose the proudest moment for myself and the founding team is that we love the industry we work in. I mean, it's a passion of ours. I joined pharmaceutical manufacturing because I wanted to be there. We joined and formed Neat because we wanted to add in more value to the company. And the greatest, proudest moment for us is we're achieving that success, and our customers are getting the value that we expected and that we envisioned for the product. I mean, the vision of the product is still strong and it's big, and we're only starting in our view. And, we're excited by it, Robin, and the feedback we get from our customers is what energizes us mostly.
Maybe we've missed some points, so I want to ask this question. What do some prospective or existing investors ask you that we can talk about on the call as public information?
Yeah, I suppose investors always want to, get under the hood of the company, understand the DNA of the company, understand the market potential, the $2 billion TAM and what happens beyond that, and how real is the $2 billion TAM and what underpins that, and, the management team that's there to deliver on this and the success to date. And I think one of the big things that really excites the investors is the net revenue retention that Neat has, and the customer profile, the customer, categories that we're dealing with, large, big pharmaceutical companies, medical device companies, and big companies supplying in and out of that industry. So I think that's the opportunity. They see the land and expand cadence that we have, and that, the management team, I meet a lot of investors, our ability to deliver. We say, give them an idea is what we want to do as a company, and we are in a good enviable position that we can say we're delivering on that. And success of the past is a big thing. What's the size of our market, and the competition, of course, as well. Who's there competing with us, and how are we going to beat the competition into the future?
What would you share with entrepreneurs, people who are starting up new companies today? What are some of the key lessons that you learned 10 plus years ago starting Neat.com?
Wow, it's a very good question. I'd say it's like we started Neat out, it was we bit off quite a lot, Robin. We didn't realize how big it was. We were probably naive, and but naivety is sometimes a good thing, because you don't, if you know all the mountains in front of you, you mightn't go on the mountain trail, So anyway, I think Neat's a story of perseverance, right? Neat's a story of bootstrapping and demonstrating, constantly selling ourselves and the product, and making sure that we deliver, value for the customers. It's constantly focused on the value for the customers. And I think that's a key thing. If you focus on value for customers will adopt your product. If it's the right thing and you're focused on their value, right, they will adopt your product. That's a give me. If you can prove you can do that, I think that's a great thing. And you do need a lot of perseverance.
Yes. If we look at the next 10 years, Eddie, what will be, in your mind, the next big pivotal moment for Neat.com in the next 10 years?
That's a great question. So we're on a journey. The vision of Neat is we're not even near where we felt we should be, right? So we thought this was a 5-year gig, you'll develop it in 3 years, and we find out 10 years later, we're still only where we thought we might be in 1 or 2 years, right? So everything gets bigger, everything costs more, and it takes longer. But I would say that we're really in a great place now. We have a huge asset built, right? And that asset is, we're now starting to commercialize that asset, and through that commercialization, the customers are reinforcing our actual our vision as we go and speak to them, and they confirm our vision, and we confirm where we're going and all of that. And we're very excited about where we're going. And I would say we will it's fair to say that we will continue to add quantum value to the customers over time, and not just small value, but big value. We see the opportunity to bring big value to our customers, and also get the existing customers to use our product in adjacent areas over time. We have some exciting stuff that we believe we will deliver there in adjacent areas that are poorly served by IT systems at the moment.
Yeah. Governance is so important, and I think, especially at smaller companies, not to say that Neat.com is small, but can you walk us through some of the board members and their expertise and how they help advise the company as it grows?
Yeah, we have a great board,
Yep.
and I would say we have a great chairman who's been with us from the start, really understands finance and has worked in the street, and has been is well known in the street in Toronto. We have Wade, that's Ian. We have Wade, who's a really great businessman, has done a huge amount of deals and bought and sold many companies, and been and a lot of success stories behind him. We have our Newtown, who's been involved in building large IT systems globally. She worked for many large companies. She's now working for the Canadian government and heading up security for them. She's been involved with Nokia as well. Then we have Carol, and Carol has built businesses and sold businesses, and she's the CEO of a company called Exonify. So there's great experience in that whole team, and we're very lucky to have them. And we get some great we couldn't have got here without this team, no question. They were there to start. We've added to that team as we've gone along, but when at the start, Ian and Wade were with us in the early days and really helped us to raise finance for the company and all that.
Solid group of expertise. Can you tell us about some of the strategic partnerships that Neat.com has with other companies, possibly?
Yeah. So I would say that, we work with a lot of companies, so I would see the partnership model is evolving for Neat, right? And we're beginning to see a lot of interest from the large systems integrators. Capgemini being one is a partner of ours. There's other companies like Cobra is another partner of ours. They're a multi-dimensional company, and they're using Neat internally for their business, but they also want to deliver Neat to the marketplace through their relationships with their customers in the life sciences. And I would say that these partnerships are something that are beginning to show, I would say, early signs of a strong I would say penetration capability into the future. So our customers are big. They're talking to the likes of these big systems integrators. Systems integrators are saying, we're here to help you on all IT systems. You have a validation solution, there it is, Neat. We'll help you to roll that out faster to your organization. So we're beginning to see these opportunities come to light. And I would say we have smaller boutique partners as well, who are maybe 500 or 600 engineers in the marketplace who are very close to the customer. They're also very important to us to work with our customers and help our customers to get more value out of our technology on sites.
That's just great that you're building out that ecosystem. Tell me about how you source your engineers and programmers who you bring on board and in-house into Neat.com. Like where are they from? Is there a big intake from a particular set of universities, or maybe from past employers? I'm curious there.
Yeah, we have everything there, Robin. I would say that I was on a call today with some of our grads who have been in. We do a grad scheme with the local university, and it's really exciting me what they're achieving in a very short period of time. But we put effort into them, and so I would say we're getting everywhere. We have an awful lot of it's a diverse organization. We have a lot of in the R&D team, which is probably 160, 170 people strong. There's people from all over the world, Robin. They come to Ireland. There's a lot of Brazilian people, a lot of Eastern Europeans, a lot of mainland Europeans. There's a lot of Irish people. So there's a very diverse mix there.
That's great.
And
Any Canadians?
Canadians?
Any Canadians? Yeah.
We have some Canadians, yeah. We do have a few Canadians that are resident in Ireland, they're working in Ireland. We have a couple of people working in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're probably what we call remote workers. They're not, and they're involved in the R&D side of things. So we do have people spread around the world as well.
Interesting. Can you tell us about some of the institutional investors who built the stake in Neat.com and
Yeah,
continue to build
so
a stake. Yeah.
yeah, I don't have the names of hand right now, but we're beginning to see the institutions showing more interest as our cap size goes up along, right? And so we have a number of institutions there. It wouldn't be a lion's share of our investors. A lot of our investors are private and insiders.
Hmm.
So I'd say they're beginning to tick up now at this stage. And every time we do a round of investment, we see more and more institutions getting involved.
Yeah. Speaking about insiders, if someone goes to like Market Screener, for example, or Bloomberg, and they look up the insider ownership, they'll see the highest concentration of ownership is Beak Investments. Can you tell us about Beak Investments?
Yeah, Beak Investments is where my investment is, right? So
Yeah.
Beak is the founders' holding company. So all the founders' shares are held through Beak.
Excellent. And a personal question to end off the podcast, Eddie. It's my opinion that the best beer in the world is brewed in Ireland.
Yeah.
Like, no other country comes close. Um, Guinness or Kilkenny? What's your favorite pour?
Guinness. I grew up on Guinness, Robin, right? And I'm going to have one in a couple of hours' time here now.
That's
But,
amazing. Do you
yeah.
have a favorite pub in Ireland that you like to go to?
Well, I like a lot of pubs, but my local one is just down the road in Douglas. It's Barry's of Douglas, and that's where I go if I get a few minutes to spare.
That's just great. I will be going to Ireland soon, and it's probably just to go on that tour on the Guinness and Kilkenny tour.
Well,
That'll be the highlight of my trip.
absolutely. Guinness tastes best in Ireland. I
I
mean,
can't wait.
I know it's improving in other countries as they get better at the manufacturing and the management of it and the piping and all that. But it doesn't taste better. Ireland is where it tastes best, right?
Yeah,
Guinness. I mean, there's some bad Guinness in Ireland, but generally speaking, you get good Guinness in Ireland.
yeah, I can't wait. I'll
Yeah.
be making it out there soon. Well, it's a lot of fun, Eddie. I think people definitely need to, continue to follow Neat.com as you continue to grow, especially with a, TAM of 2 billion and upwards as you go into other industries. And yeah, best of luck. Talk soon.
Yeah, lovely talking to you, Robin. Thank you very much, and see you
Thank you.
now. Bye
Cheers.
bye. Bye bye.